buddy. Yeah.
Hoping for that
One
jackpot.
more for terrible luck. Come on, spin the wheel.
Go.
Max power usually goes bad for me.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh!
Well, I guess it didn't today.
He's actually gonna get the jackpot!
Because, needless to say, I got the jackpot.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the first time that's ever happened in these videos.
So,
Man.
guys, I don't know what I need to put in.
I don't know, that time limit's really counting down on you.
Jackpot!
Oh, it's
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my
No
God.
extra.
Today is about to get a hell of a lot worse.
Keep that in mind. To grab onto vines, hold down the jump button. Nope.
Oh,
You waited too long.
No. No.
Oh.
Okay.
No.
This is gonna suck.
Why isn't this doing anything?
Oh, it's a bomb.
You picked up a table.
Oh, I thought this was a gun. I thought that was the trigger, and like that was like the, yeah, it looks like a gun.
It's a table, Emil.
I thought it was a gun.
Here we go. Some blunderbusses.
Whoa.
Oh. My head is bouncing up and down. Oh.
Question
How
two.
about this? How many gold medals did
Yo,
Michael Phelps
jeez.
win in the 2008 Summer
Oh
Olympics?
god.
Over 9,000.
9,000.
I have no clue. Flip.
Math questions.
Love it.
Roswell
It's
is
math. Still alive.
Oh, thank goodness.
Off.
Yeah. Ah, shit. I think I picked the wrong answer.
Who picked this one?
Okay, I did.
Guess
Whoa,
what
oh
finger
my
I
God.
cut off?
Yeah, I know.
I am dumb.
The rest of you who are still alive.
Oh, thank goodness. For a last split second, I'm like, wait, maybe it is New Mexico. No, I thought it was Nevada.
I was thinking of Independence Day.
You know
I
you
don't
love
think
it.
Roswell
It's
is
math.
Oh, it's math time.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh.
come
As
on.
many math questions as you can before time runs out. The worst
can't.
mathematician
Oh,
dies.
rip, rip, rip.
Good luck.
Let's go.
Oh, wait, I can't.
What?
Car Slayer is kicking.
What are these things?
Isn't that so annoying?
We're driving you.
No! Guys, I can't!
Do you need
Oh,
me to
man.
tutor you?
No!
Brace yourself.
On the plus side, you get your middle finger back. Used to know this.
Who picked this?
I need an answer that one anyways.
I had no idea.
I want to show you something.
There we go.
Here we go. Oh, not Prisoner's Dilemma.
There's a big pile
Yes.
of cash in here. Here's how
Ally
this
or
is going to
betray?
work. If no one takes the money, no one dies. But if you do take the money, I'll kill everyone who didn't. There's one catch. If you all take the money, then you all die. Huddle up and talk about your strategy, dingalings. much stabbing.
Wow.
Yes, both. Or just me. Oh, just me. Cool.
Those cuts don't look serious. Serious enough.
The only affecting next to you.
I see how it is, game. Thanks.
Yeah. No.
Logan's.
Hard. That's how we should
Holy.
make more.
Now I understand.
There'll be another round to make more.
Hi, I'm Dave from Boy in a Band. I've just collaborated with my friend iDubbbz on a diss track, and it's given me the perfect opportunity to make this video. Before I tell you, if you don't want any spoilers, go over to iDubbbz channel to see the video on there. So, in the song, we diss Rice Gum. If you're not familiar with the guy, it's probably worth watching Ian's Content Cop to see why he's done some pretty dodgy things. In the early days, at least, he used a ghostwriter without acknowledging it for quite some time. Now, it's fine to have writers, but I feel if you listen to a rapper, you'll assume they wrote what they say. It feels pretty disingenuous as a musician to release something and not credit the people who did the work. So this is where that perfect opportunity comes in. Since he's always been pretty secretive about how he works with ghostwriters, I suggested to Ian that we do the exact opposite. So we recorded the entire writing process for the song from start to finish. And this video is going to show you how that song was put together.
Hey there. Hi, I'm Ian from iDubbbz TV.
Hi, I'm Dave from Boy in a Band.
This is inside the writer's studio.
We're going to figure out how to hit Rice Gum hard
Yeah,
with a sick rap.
I'm a music guy. You guys know me.
Unless you don't know him, in which case he's not a music guy. Have you ever tried to write a rap before, like growing up?
I've played around in GarageBand with simple looping things and
Nice.
just been like, yeah.
Did you get much further than that?
Yeah.
One of the first questions Ian asked was the same one a lot of people do. Do you start with the beat or the words? I would say it's easier to start with the beat so you don't write lyrics that are too wordy for the beat, but at least having an idea of what tempo you want the song to be gives you a starting point for what kind of flows you can use comfortably. Generally I make my own music, but in this instance, because I didn't have a lot of time, we went for an existing instrumental instead. My friend Dan Bull sent us some from some producers he rated, and we settled on this one. This is the beat.
This is the beat. Wow, that's good.
So with the beat sorted, we could start the writing process. Now Ian might come off as confident in this intro bit we recorded, but he was kind of nervous coming into this, as you would be if you're writing your first rap song that you know is going to be seen by millions of people. I think the more visible nervousness came from the recording process, which I also recorded, don't worry. Also, we filmed a bunch of stuff just messing around, so I'll throw that in there periodically. Alright.
So this is my first line that I came up with.
Okay.
Tell me what you think. This is the start of it all.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm setting the scene. The rise and fall of the great Brian Paul, entitled Egomaniac with a Gucci haul.
The rise and fall, the Brian Paul, that's a 4-syllable multi. Nice.
Yeah, I didn't even intend to do that. I was just Paul, fall.
The Gucci haul is only 1 syllable though, so I try and find some things that rhyme with Gucci with or instead of entitled. And
Oh my
stuff
god,
like that.
that's legitimately something I never would have thought of.
Even if you change it to the rise and fall of the Brian Paul entitled Egomaniac, dude with the Gucci haul, like dude with the Gucci is again like
Right,
gives it more of a
right.
flow.
It's a whole new world for me. It's like kind of mind blowing how like I had all of these sort of restrictions in my brain as to what could be written.
You can flow all over the place.
Yeah.
The rhymes don't have to land on the end of it. In fact, Brian Paul entitled is this like rhymes with Brian entitled. You can kind of get away with that as well if you twist
What
it.
the fuck? How does Brian rhyme with entitled?
Okay.
How does that
Okay.
happen?
Brian Paul and entitled whore.
Oh shit. Kind of rhymes in a
Yeah,
weird way.
Kind of rhymes with Brian Paul.
Okay, we're gonna need to slow down a little bit.
say write down all the ideas you have about what you want to say about Rice Gum, and then we'll turn each one of them into a lie.
Let's do that to start then.
Ian had the idea to do this kind of 7 Deadly Sins theme for the content cops, so we broke down the ideas under those headings. We started with greed.
Let's just start with the surrounding yourself with bitches, money, and Gucci stuff.
Like, I would just write down what it is I didn't like about that.
I do not like...
It's like a 5-year-old essay. This should be content. I do not like Rice Gum because...
Man, I love a good swashbuckling on a Thursday afternoon. What day is it today?
Yeah, it's Thursday. It's my birthday.
Thursday. Dave's birthday. Fuck. And we're only standing around a pirate on your birthday. That's the equivalent of your...
That's my big celebration. Thank you.
I'd probably start with the attributes. Greedy, big head, money hungry.
Does he actually have a physical big head?
I think he does in the context of the rest of his body. People think you're putting on a persona for the camera, but you really ain't, homeboy.
Went on to envy. You think that's just him?
Absolutely. It's very much apparent.
Hey guys, Nintendo here. When you think of the original Nintendo DS library, chances are your mind goes straight to family-friendly classics like New Super Mario Bros., Brain Age, and Nintendogs. But the DS was also home to a very small collection of titles that were geared toward a more mature audience. And that very small group of games has been the subject of one of my game collecting goals as of recent. To be more precise, the DS has 11 M-rated titles, rated M for mature by the ESRB. And in this video, we'll take a look at these 11 rated titles, rated M for mature by the ESRB. And in this video, we'll take a look at these 11 titles, check out some gameplay, and we'll see exactly how they earned their rating. So, let's get right into it. Okay, so like I mentioned, we've got 11 mature rated titles to go through here, and I'll be listing them in order of their release dates. So, first up is Resident Evil Deadly Silence. Deadly Silence is an upgraded port of the original Resident Evil on PlayStation, and was published as part of the series' 10th year anniversary. If you played the original, you pretty much know what to expect, although the game did add some additional features, including a first-person knife battle mechanic which used the DS's touchscreen to fend off attackers. And of course, as expected from a zombie-themed survival horror game, this title was rated M due to blood and gore and intense violence. Obviously, at this point, Resident Evil has had plenty of ports for numerous platforms, and if you wanted to play the game today, there's probably a better way to do so. But if you're a fan of the series, Deadly Silence does do a good job of recreating the Resident Evil experience on a handheld, and adds enough extra content to keep things interesting. Next up on the list is Touch the Dead. Continuing on with the undead theme, Touch the Dead is a horror-themed rail shooter.
Made you click. Let's talk about that.
Hey guys, Nintendo here. Ultimate Mortal Kombat. Friendly classics, graphics. However, those blocky zombie faces were still realistic enough to earn the game an M rating on grounds of gore and violence. Personally, when I played this title, it didn't really stand out to me, but it did provide some standard zombie hunting entertainment for the short time it kept my attention. Alright, after Touch the Dead came Dementium the Ward. I think this title is really interesting. Dementium is a survival horror FPS which was originally planned to be an entry in the Silent Hill series. But when the developer Renegade Kid was turned down by Konami for the franchise rights, they decided to go on with the project and develop the shooter into their own IP. Although the game saw mixed reception on launch, it has been looked back on as a bit of a cult classic, and certainly one of the most technically impressive titles for the DS, especially so early in the system's lifespan. Like many other titles on this list, the game was rated M for mature on grounds of gore and violence. Personally, I have to commend this game for its excellent atmosphere and sound design. Just on principle, it seems like a survival horror game shouldn't be able to work on a platform like the DS, but Dementium does an excellent job of immersing you in the unsettling environment of Redmore Hospital and keeping you on edge throughout the single-player campaign. If that sounds like your sort of game, definitely check this one out. Next up on the list is Ultimate Mortal Kombat. So this one is a handheld port of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, which was released in arcades back in 1995. The M rating should be no surprise here. Of course, Mortal Kombat is a series which prides itself on over-the-top, hyper-gory combat and finishing moves. Much like Resident Evil Deadly Silence, this one's sort of a what you see is what you get type deal. If you're a fan of the series, this iteration is a fine way to play Mortal Kombat. And this port also includes the Puzzle Combat minigame, which debuted with Mortal Kombat Deception. Coming up next is Teresia. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Teresia is really a fascinating and unique title for DS. The game is described as a psychological horror adventure game, and certainly it has some of the darkest and most disturbing content on the platform. Especially if you're into classic PC adventure games like Myst or Shadowgate, you should keep this one on your radar. Teresia puts you in the shoes of a young girl with amnesia, and tasks you with escaping a huge, deadly labyrinth riddled with booby traps around every corner. Throughout the game, you'll overcome the protagonist's personal demons and learn more details about her past. This title earned its mature rating with blood, violence, and strong language. Definitely not one to play with the kiddos, but a very compelling adventure nonetheless. Alright, next up, this one was a little bit more popular. This is Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. This home console siblings is a top-down action-adventure game set in a sprawling open-world city. It might be easy to dismiss this entry as a watered-down mobile port, but you would be mistaken. In fact, this title is actually the highest-rated DS game of all time according to Metacritic, with an aggregate review score of 93 out of 100. This game earned its M rating as a result of blood and gore, drug references, sexual content, strong language, and violence. All par for the course from a GTA title. And if you're a fan of the series, you owe it to yourself to give this title a go. Next on the list is Core, another FPS. Of a combat marine investigating on this lost 100. This one was a little blood, deadly, terribly if you're a game, and certainly it has some of the darkest and most disturbing content on the platform. Especially if you're into classic PC adventure games like Myst or Shadowgate, you should keep this one on your radar. Teresia puts you in the shoes of a young girl with amnesia. Hey guys! Titles. So this 5. This one's Mortal Kombat. Pronouncing that correct. Heard of
The 2018 Ford F-150 doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
And welcome to a new Let's Play. I'm kind of intrigued by this, but I don't know what to expect. But it won the poll. It was a close fight, but that pretty much determined the order in which I will be doing those 3 games. At any rate, let us play Teresia. Or however you want to pronounce it. Teresia. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. If you don't like it, too bad. Dear Emil. Here's what I know about the game. Okay, welcome back to Teresia, part 39. Let's use our last paper. Mother and child paper. Huh? Mother's handwriting. March 23rd, 34. Blood pledge. My paradise takes place in war. I kill and torture. I feel at peace listening to screams as I tear into flesh and blood. I kill old people, women, and children. But I don't understand. The mother and child that I killed fell against each other. Even in death, they're together. Parents, children, mothers. I don't understand it. You are no longer alive. Why do you stay together? A tiny baby, buried in rubble, covered in blood. Tell me. I want to know. You're my daughter from now on.